This is the Freeheel Life Podcast, episode number 82. I'm your host, Josh Madsen, coming at you from the Freeheel Life Shop in Salt Lake City, Utah. And it's Monday, my friends, and we're back for the latest edition in Freeheel Life news and what's going on. So, good to be back. Super stoked for a new week, and can't wait to share this fun conversation with you that I had. But first, we're going to talk about some newsroom and notes. And mainly, I just want to catch you up on what content has come out recently. I know it's like 100 degrees probably where you live, and you're probably not paying attention to snow, but you're only a couple months away, and then you're going to start thinking about it. So whenever you're catching this podcast, here are some good articles and things to check out. Primarily, this is all telemarkskier.com. And for those of you that don't know, we're still reintroducing this. We relaunched it as a subscription-based website. There is some free content on there, mostly in the news section. And the premium content, you can either do a monthly reoccurring subscription or a yearly one. And that's how we're supporting it. No advertising. It's basically just to keep a couple of us writing content. And we're using the summer as a nice launch point to start catching up on what's going on and just keep the information unit moving. So hopefully you'll check it out. There's some really cool stuff. News pieces you may want to check out. Ty Dayberry announces a new movie, Future Freeheel 2. It's going to be one of the only ones coming out. And Ty is one of those people that's been around for a very long time and a lot of great experience and amazing footage that he always comes up with. So check that news piece out. In the gear department, Volet has announced a new long travel spring for its TTS product, and we're kind of keeping an eye on that. TTS is Telemark Tech System, which is basically a Tecto touring system with an NTN boot, and you can check that out. Dusty has the scoop on that. One of my favorites that recently came out was one of our pinup profiles about Mike Miller, the unknown cable guy. And if you're interested in binding history or even what's going on now, this is a cool little profile piece about Mike Miller, this guy that lived out in Killington. He ran Base Camp Outfitters for a long time and recently sold it. But this piece is less about that and more about an early patent that he had in the mid-1990s that developed underfoot cable routing, which is what we ended up using across the board for a very long time. Awesome piece. Dusty did a good job of shining some light on that, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Another news piece, 22 Designs came out with or has announced a kids out-of-the-box kids telemark binding. So softer springs. It's basically a vise, a little bit different color, and softer springs right out of the box. Fits down to Mondo 19, I believe, which is about a kid's 12. So that's your newsroom and notes. And be sure to check out telemarkskier.com. Would love for you to become a subscriber and help us out. And it's all part of the Freeheel Life family. So today I'm joined by my good friend CJ Coccia from Telemark Colorado. And he stopped by Freeheel Life here in Salt Lake City to chop it up about what's going on in their world, their upcoming video release, Why Not?, King of the Heel breakdown, and a ton more. We had a really fun conversation, and I hope you enjoy it. What up, CJ? Welcome to the Freeheel Life Podcast, my brother.
Hey, thanks, Josh. It's nice to be inside of FHL instead of my bedroom like we were the last time.
I know. We just got done doing the little tour, kind of showing you around. I think you said the last time you were here was like 2015, maybe 2016. I don't know.
Yeah, my God, it's 2021 now. So the last time I was here was actually like months before we started TC, since that was kind of what sparked my interest in trying to do something focused on telemark. So yeah, I think like 3 or 4 years ago. So it's cool to be back, and it's kind of wild to see how much things have changed and how much things have grown. It's sick.
That's awesome. Yeah, and That's crazy. You hadn't even started it when you came here?
No, not at all.
Huh?
Yeah, I started the Instagram, I think, like the weekend I got back after meeting you and being at the shop and kind of being stoked from the whole skate shop vibe and everything else. And it was that like midnight experience of like, damn, I kind of want to do something with Telemark, and I kind of wish FHL was here, and it isn't. So the least we can do is make an Instagram account, I suppose.
Yeah. What was that? We've talked a little bit about that. I mean, the starting of the Instagram, what is that? How does that feel? Like you're starting the Instagram. What are your expectations?
I don't know if I've had expectations even up until now that we're like 3 years into this, you know? I think it's really easy to start an account and let it just exist in the void, because you can kind of make an account and nobody knows about it, right? So there's really no stress about what it's going to be or what the expectations are or anything else. So that part, I didn't really have much there. It was just like kind of throwing a name together and then figuring it out after. So now that we're, a couple of years in, I think now the expectations are for us to keep doing better and keep getting people stoked out and not, become this thing where people were like, oh yeah, last year that was super fun and now it's just gone and we become a void, So I think the expectations then weren't anything. The expectations now are pretty large, actually. Yeah.
What did you think made it grow? Because I think it's interesting because we live in a time where like you didn't even have to have a website, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just start. Did you even have a website when you started?
No, the website's maybe like 1 or 2 years old. So it's strictly an Instagram account, I think, for the first 1 or 2 seasons.
And we should mention your partners in crime that are not here.
Yep. Eric Jensen, I'm sure, is floating around somewhere in Erie playing pickleball, and Brian Strickland is probably also playing pickleball right now in Colorado.
All right. Now, what is up with pickleball? Why is this such a popular thing all of a sudden?
I think it's because it's easier than tennis. It's like for people that really like ping pong but want to make it more extreme, so they kind of go out to the courts. I'm honestly not sure. I had heard about it from my parents, who are in their 60s and 70s, and that was generally my running assumption, is that was kind of what you do once you get to that age and you go into that whole pickleball realm. But now that 2/3 of Telemark Colorado are very heavy pickleball players, I don't know what to believe anymore.
Have you played it before?
No. One, I think mostly from pride now, is I've made fun of them so much about it that I'm kind of in this deep hole that I can't do it. Yeah, and I'm sure I'd probably love it, which is the bigger problem. So I'm just going to stick to my guns for a little bit.
Yeah, because
longer.
I've seen, actually, it was I didn't know what that was. I had some customers here a couple of years ago, and they came in and they were like big pickleball players. And
yeah.
I was like, oh, what do you guys do in the summer? Oh, we're going to play a bunch of pickleball. And I was like, what the hell is that? And then I looked it up. I mean, if you haven't looked at it, it's like you said, it's kind of like,
it's like tennis, but it's a smaller range court, and I think you're using
like a wood paddle.
It's like an oversized ping pong paddle or table tennis for the serious, players or what have you.
What is the ball like though? Is it small?
I don't know.
Oh.
I've tried to space my off because, to be quite honest, and I hate to go on the record with this, but I feel like if I do play it, I will really like it because I'm competitive, and especially trying to beat Brian or Eric, that would be a huge motivation. So I haven't dove super hard into the details on it.
I feel like it's got to be like a squash ball or something, like something smaller, like not tennis ball size, but like something a little bit smaller.
It's got to be that happy medium between a table tennis ball and a tennis ball, with probably some new graphic on it, and I don't have time.
I don't have time to do the pickleball thing. That is weird, though. I didn't realize that was such a big thing everywhere.
Yeah, it's getting bigger and bigger for sure. So they love it. So that's probably what they'll be doing. It is a Monday afternoon, right? Oh no, it's Tuesday today, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh man,
that's funny. Are they? Is there like so do you play like in a league? Is it like bowling? Maybe it's the new bowling of like this generation.
You can do leagues and tournaments and stuff. My mom actually does it a lot back in Florida. She does these like pickleball tournaments, and she actually does really well. She gets like second and first place through those.
Whoa.
So yeah, it's legit. So maybe this will be the podcast we look at, a year from now, and we realize this was what was preceding Pickleball Colorado or some crap like that.
You could start an Instagram account.
I know. Yeah, we'll make pickleball koozies, and then we'll find the next pickleball podcast and just go from there.
That's probably where your future's at, dude.
That's where all telemark companies go.
I know, to pickleball.
Yep, exactly.
That's actually a good idea. We should make some like pickleball shorts or something. Like some nice, like, sleek, different colors, like a little logo on there.
Yeah, exactly. You don't stop being a telemark skier through the summer, so you can still be ripped up on some tele gear for pickleball.
This is all making a lot of sense now. Pickleball in the summer. I always said I wasn't going to have a summertime component, but maybe I'm a pickleball shop in the summer.
See, 5 minutes in and we've got a new business plan. Maybe we just don't air this podcast because we don't want to give out our secrets.
Yeah. No,
keep this one for the vault.
I'm going to sign up for a pickleball account right now.
Yep.
IG. Freeheel Life Pickleball. Well, that's cool. So, all right. So those guys are chilling. How was the winter in Colorado this year? Did you guys get out skiing and I guess debrief me on the Telemark Colorado shenanigans for the 2021 season?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, as with everybody, I think it was a bit confusing as to what we were going to do because we're all going through COVID and the resorts are starting to open up and we're trying to figure out what we can and can't do, and I think everyone has various levels of what they're comfortable with. And being a LLC or group or crew or whatever you want to call TC that was fundamentally just trying to do these events and bring people together, it was really kind of difficult for us. So we kind of took that time to really just focus on like our own hanging out, our own skiing, while some people were locked down, others were, less so, and try to put all of that energy into King of the Heel for this year, which came out January 1st, just because that seemed like a super appropriate thing to have for COVID. This was something that you didn't have to get a bunch of people together, and generally the crews that you had were already hanging out together, so that could have been your own little COVID pod. So we kind of diverted from doing the film premiere stuff and focused on just like trying to make King of the Heel better, which ultimately I think we ended up with all that extra time making a book that was way too damn big. But, it's the second year, so we're going through this iterative loop of figuring out what works and what doesn't. So we really focused on that for the beginning. And then after that, we kind of went through some of Summit County and Colorado was starting to open up. So we were able to do a little film premiere for that finally, which was like our first real kind of get together event for really all of the 2021 season, which was really killer. And then starting to focus on some film projects as well.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't, maybe give people a rundown. If you haven't listened to the King of the Heel explanation, give people the quick skinny on what it is.
Yeah, so King of the Heel, a lot of people like to look at it like a game of NAR, where essentially we create this booklet and it has a bunch of different challenges on it that are worth various points. And the challenges can be anything from telling a, black diamond to skiing trees to, hitting a rail feature, doing like a 180 switch 50-50, 180 out or something like that. So there's all these kind of ski challenges, but likewise, there's all these challenges that's like eat the most burritos on your drive from, your place in the Front Range up to the mountains or something like that, or eat a whole pizza, or walk into a bar and just, announce to everybody that you're a telemark skier. And the whole idea was to kind of create this contest that everyone could participate in. You don't have to be this like pro telepark skier. You don't have to like be someone that's been doing it for 20 years. It could be your first year, and these challenges kind of give you some motivation and opportunities to try to learn some stuff and be a part of a competition. But ultimately, the way you prove that you get those points is that you film everything you do, and you usually get a crew of like 4 to 5 tele skiers, film it for 2 to 3 months. We released it this year on January 1st, and then it was due on April 1st April 1st this year. So you essentially film it through that whole season, film you doing all the challenges, keep track of it, and then release a video with, your own music, your own editing. And it's a really cool way to kind of show off your whole crew and everything else. So you get kind of these really like nicely edited cinematic sort of edits. And then you get these other ones that are just these crews having a crap ton of fun and everything in between. So it's kind of a cool way to let everyone show off what they're doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Who who is new this year that maybe what were the standouts, I guess?
Let's see.
I don't want you to pick personal favorites per se.
Sure. Well, we actually, and I guess that, I'm always kind of bad at explaining these, but the way you win, right? Like, you don't just submit the edits and it goes into the void. So there's the King of the Heel winner, which is the most points. So, regardless of how long the edit is, you can get 5,000, 10,000, whatever. That's the big winner. And then we had the hashtag We Care Award, which is essentially a voter's choice, which is outside of TC. So we show all the edits. People get a week to vote on it. And then the best edit wins. But this year, because we realized that essentially the selections were out of our hands for winners, we made another award. And it was the Low Standards Award, which was Telemark Colorado's choice. And it was actually this crew out of Grand Targhee that... they didn't do a submission last year, and it was just an absolute blast. It was a bunch of dorky park stuff and skiing. One of the challenges was to tele-ski backwards on a black diamond, and they actually put their pants on and their jacket backwards and their helmet backwards and goggles to make it look like they were skiing forward down the run the whole time.
Dude.
And it was just like... super creative, super fun. One of the challenges we put on there was to essentially mount a shot ski and actually ski it. And they're the only team out of the past 2 years to do it. So we were really stoked on their whole vibe, their energy. It was a new entry. So that was our absolute favorite.
That's funny. So there's three. You got Low Standards Award.
Yep.
And you've got King of the Heel, and then you've got We Care.
Yep.
So you've got points, voter's choice, your choice.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So Telly Monty out of the East won the We Care Award again.
Awesome.
And the kid's gotten taller. It's wild. He gained some feet over COVID, it seemed. But he had an absolute beautiful edit. I believe it's his brother that does a lot of the filming and editing too. So it's really cool that it's kind of this like family organization that's making it. And then the We Care Award this year was Team NWTN, New World Telemark.
Where is that?
Or New Wave Telemark. God, what is it? New Wave Telemark. I think we actually printed their name wrong on the trophy that we made this year.
But is this King of the Heel?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You said We Care.
Oh, yeah. So this is the King of the Heel. Yeah.
We
so,
Care.
Yep.
This is King of the Heel.
And that's a crew out of Breckenridge that got second place last year. So the first year we did it, and then they got first place this year. Yeah. So actually, the 1 and 2 for King of the Heel swapped from our first year to second year. So Team Hamdog.
Hamdog's 2069.
Hamdog 2069 got second place this year. Yeah.
Those guys crack me up. I need to come out and get my Hamdog tattoo. I thought you... Aren't you tattooing? Did you get a machine?
I haven't done anything in a bit. It's over in LA. Yeah, a buddy of mine and myself got one that's been sitting in LA. So yeah, we haven't gotten that together in a year and a half or so.
We got to do that.
I know.
I know. I still owe those guys a Hamdog tattoo.
I think their ideas are getting better and better as the years go on. So the longer you wait, the more epic or weird that tattoo is going to get.
Yeah.
So kind of pick your sweet spot there.
I don't know if I talked to the guys in Australia that do those Telly Guys podcasts, and they didn't know what the Hamdog was. Although it sounded like a very official thing, I had to explain it to them. So
yeah, they so this year, because the whole idea is to kind of bring all these crews together and make it more of a community, and it's something that they can look forward to doing next year, and it's something that even if you're not participating in it, maybe you like the Hamdog edits and you're getting stoked to see it again. So one way we tried to incorporate the first set of teams is we all gave them an opportunity to come up with a challenge for this year's booklet. So Team Hamdog 2069 had their challenge was to actually to cook and make a Hamdog. And
I saw pictures of that.
Oh my God. Did you see the edit?
I did not see the edit yet.
There's about a 7-minute section of them making it. That's just like kind of a little cooking show. And it's ridiculous.
Oh
yeah.
My God.
No spoilers, but you should definitely see it.
Well, where are the videos all on Telemark Colorado website?
Yep. So on telemarkcolorado.com, we have a King of the Heel tab that you can click, and you can actually go through to see the 2020 submissions and the 2021 submissions on there. So
cool.
And one nice thing about that, since we'll definitely be doing it next year, is that people can look at it And kind of every year we go through, there's more of a foundation where people can understand what this competition is and what it involves. So we're hoping to just kind of keep gathering more and more people as the years go on.
Yeah, no, I think that's good too. That's like any TV. It's like reality shows, like Survivor show or something. Like everyone learns the tricks of like like you watch the first season, nobody knows what's going on, and then you get to like season 4 and people are like, oh yeah, that worked on all 3 seasons leading up to that. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that, that was kind of the hesitation, and we talked about this previously about the first year, is that there wasn't anything to show or reference for people to know what in the world this competition was.
Yep.
And that's why we were so blown away when we got 7 entries that first year. So I think this year we ended up with 8. There was a few repeating teams, then some other teams that didn't do it, but then we had newer teams that submitted. There's also another kid out of Washington, Gunner Big Air, that did one that was just absolutely epic, super park ripper kind of dude. And I think he actually did it because he had posted a video of him hitting a rail feature like 2 months before the submittal date. And I commented saying like, can't wait to see your, King of the Heel edit. And I think, he could obviously correct me that he didn't know about what was going on, but he looked up the comp and actually put it together in 2 weeks submitted it, and it rips. Yeah, I mean, he's throwing like 7s off of cliffs and everything else. So it's just absolutely, booters and everything else, which is wild. So I know he's stoked for next year, and we can't wait to see what that one's going to be. So yeah, I think every year it's just going to get more and more epic and more fun too, which is the whole point of it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. It's good to see people feeding off each other, and the internet definitely lets everyone kind of riff off of people from other areas that they're not even skiing with,
Yeah.
I mean, video's cool that way. I think that really helps push the level, of good skiers, but obviously this is just for fun too. So like people, like you said, you don't have to be like some epic pro to like, participate, as there are some I guess there are there's drinking ones too, right?
Yeah, there are. We try to be pretty PC about it and say like beverage of choice, but there tends to be a skew towards particular beverages of everyone's choice. So yeah.
Smart move. Move.
Like there are younger people that do it, so we want to make sure they can get those points too.
Yeah, I was gonna say Monty's like not even 18 probably.
Yeah. It seems like he's 7 foot tall now, but yeah, he'll get there. Maybe he'll switch his beverage to choice, but
you have to be careful. I don't know if I told you about this. I don't want to say got in trouble, but we post, so like we do that initiation with the leather boots and stuff.
Yeah.
So we posted on our YouTube channel us initiating T2, who's our youngest member, and he's 19.
Yeah,
he's a shorter grown man. Let's put it that way. But no,
lower balance point.
Somebody got super mad, and they said that we were hazing him. And it was like legit. Like they thought we were like hazing him by making him ski leather boots. And I was like, I mean, it was so out of left field for me. I was like, what? And this guy got super upset in the comments, and he's like, if that was my kid, I'd be coming into the shop that next day. And I was like laughing because T2's dad was with us the whole time. And I was like, oh geez. So
also after meeting T2 now as well, like seeing that edit where he was trying the leathers makes total sense, because that kid just absolutely sends it.
Oh yeah, no, he was
no inhibitions.
Yeah, no. So just to be clear, we're very go at your own pace type of initiation, if you will.
You choose your own path there, but we'll all still film it.
Well, and the funny thing, it gave me the idea for another edit, because the gentleman had thought I was being too macho by initiating him. So I was thinking a Macho Man Randy Savage edit might be in my future. So I did look up costumes. I haven't made a purchase yet, but we'll see what happens.
So thank you, Critical Person, for the idea for the next FHL edit. Keep them coming.
I was laughing. That's funny. Well, so we're talking about T2. You guys have done King of the Heel, which has obviously been really successful.
Yeah.
You guys, T2 actually came out at the end of the season, and you guys did like a shoot at Copper Mountain.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about what you got cooking there.
Yeah, so we got 4 Telepark skiers together for a couple of days at Copper Mountain. We got Ty Dayberry, Chris Stewart, we got T2, and then Greg actually from Team Hamdog that's over in Colorado. And we filmed just some park skiing for 3 days with the ultimate goal to create this short film called Why Not, which we're incredibly stoked about. The big motivation for that, and it, for the people that aren't seeing me waving my hands and stuff, it's why not with a period. So it's a factual statement, and it's not a question mark. And the whole idea is kind of addressing, what can you do with telemark skiing, which was a big motivation for what TC was. There's this whole background of kind of backcountry skiing with tele and everything. And I think there is an assumption for the older generations, the younger generations, that if you're doing telemark skiing, you're a backcountry skier. But quite frankly, I went out once in the backcountry last year. Most of my time is in the resort. And the fact of the matter is that the gear is so good that you can do bumps, you can do cliffs, and hell, you can do park too. So the whole point of this is essentially say, why can't you do it? Why not? And that's the statement. We're not asking for anybody's answer on it. We're just showing. And another big part of it is that, these are 4 guys that are just in the U.S. They came over. We all hung out as friends. We didn't need backcountry knowledge or a knowledge of zones. All you need is a lift ticket and a willingness to kind of huck your meat onto a rail with a floppy binding. This is really something that any kid could do and any kid could learn. And that's what we're trying to show, is something that, is approachable, and it's outside of the general assumption of what telemark can be.
Yeah. And I like that's a good explanation of it. And I think the one thing is, that's actually a good title too, because I think a lot of, not just in park tele skiing, but in telemark skiing in general, the most common question is, like, I'll explain telemark to somebody. They're like, oh, what's telemark? And I'll explain it like, hey, your heel's not attached. It's like making lunging motions down the mountain, whatever the explanation might be. And I'm always surprised by the most common question, which is, why is it better?
Yeah.
And I'm always kind of stumped by that, because I've been a tele skier for so long, but I think that question happens a lot too in the terrain park, because people see you, maybe, I guess the heel not being locked down, the perception is this disadvantage to it,
right?
Rather than like you identify as a telemark skier, I guess, or you are, that's what you do everywhere, and you just happen to be in the park. Why not kind of sums it up, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, it's sort of, I don't think tell me what I'm curious what the reaction of people are. You got this crew of 4 guys.
Yeah.
And I kind of know what usually happens, although I'm kind of dated at this point. But you got 4 really good telemark skiers in the park at a well-known park. I mean, Copper's legit. Like, a lot of high-level guys ski that area.
The Woodward program now. I mean, everyone's funneling over to Copper at this point.
Yeah. So what, like, from alpine skiers that get the gist all of a sudden that there's 4 tele skiers, like, what's the reaction?
It's pure stoke, honestly. I think it's a lot of stoke that is painted over a face of confusion. No one has, like, why in the hell would you go in with floppy bindings and, like you said, potentially put yourself at a disadvantage, which I don't think is true. So it's a lot of kind of that, like, what the hell is this crew coming in? You see 4 tele skiers, and Ty's got his, overalls or his bib with, like, the straps down. So he's got the park stees, and T2's got his baggy gear and everything. So it's like all of these tele skiers that aren't fitting the general mold of assumption as to what a telemark skier is. So I think people wonder at first, what in the world are you guys doing here? And then all 4 of them go send it, and then people are just freaking out and stoked. I mean, so many people were coming up and just, like, absolutely stoked out of their gourd to see what was happening, compliment them, talk to Ty and everybody else. So I think it was just a lot of excitement once they realized that it was somebody that was actually kind of running the park versus, like, seeing some telliers come in and just, like, blow themselves up on a box feature or something like that.
Yeah, because you have 4 guys that are totally able to do stuff.
Yeah.
And, most of those guys have a bag of tricks that are unique too.
Oh, yeah.
So it's, like, unique not only to themselves, but unique to telly, like some of the slides that they're doing, some of the grabs that they're doing.
Yep. They're all different styles too, which is nice. So I think having, Greg, T2, Ty, and Chris together creates this really nice cross section of kind of different generations of telemark skiers too, that have different tricks, different steezes and everything. So it's kind of this good, it's this good kind of cross section of what it can be. And that's kind of the point of this too, is to show people what you can really do with it and completely debunk that assumption that they're at a disadvantage. Because, seeing them in the park, clearly they're not.
Yeah, no, for sure. What was it like having Ty there? Because, one of the cool, like you said, there's different generations of telemark skiers there. I mean, Ty by far is, he's like the OG of telemark park skiing. I mean, because when I met Ty, he was 14. And this is a long time ago. So it's like, one of the things that I admire about Ty is he has gotten better every single year since that time that I met him. So what's interesting is I'm kind of curious. One, it's got to be funny to be Ty Dayberry, because I feel like he's probably like, dude, I've been doing this for like 20 years now. Like, and kids don't know, like, why. So what is that? Like, and is this maybe part of why you guys are doing this short, is to show people what's going on? Because it's not that it hasn't existed, but guys like Ty, it's like, what was that experience, I guess, having him there, and then is part of the short to kind of like bring to light that this is actually something going on?
It's to show what it is. Like I said, why not is with a period at the end. It's a total statement, and it's not to try to answer really anyone's questions or anything. It's just strictly to show, and knowing Ty and what he can do. And, I formed my relationship with Ty the first year that we started Telemark Colorado, when he was doing, not our family, but
Future.
a Telemark Tale.
Oh, Telemark Tale.
It was when we first started the TC project, and we reached out to him and Bevan, and they came out and we did a film premiere and everything. I was able to meet him then. So just through like developing that relationship with him, knowing his motivation in telemark to keep it growing and to do more media and to show people what's going on. It was a super obvious choice to have him. And quite frankly too, like you said, he's been doing this for a while, and I haven't, and I'm talking about just being in the telemark world to produce things and to do park edits and film shoots and everything else. So, as much as it was sick to be filming him and have him there, I was also learning a lot too, because he shows up with this experience. And he's a pro with all this. He knows, and he was focused, and it was sick. Like, it's a learning experience for me on this kind of like filming park shoot in. And I think it's kind of a rad learning experience for the younger guys too, to be able to ski with Ty and get pushed by him. Yeah,
no, for sure. That's cool. That's actually cool to hear that. Yeah. I didn't even think about that aspect. Like, just the wealth of knowledge. Like,
oh yeah.
And he really is like a true professional. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Like in that level of expertise and just, I think we even wrote an article about him a long time ago. Kind of little known fact about Ty is I'm pretty sure every telemark movie company that's ever existed, starting from 2000, he has been in a movie of theirs, which is fascinating because he's one of the few guys that was in the Unparalleled movies. Those were all 16 millimeter. I always, and another reason I give, this is like turning into the Ty Dayberry like praise show. But one of the things that I always thought was, you talk about experience. He was filming at like age 14 on 16 millimeter film, which people don't even think about that anymore. Yeah. But like, you're actually burning money up as you're filming. So, you had to be incredibly dialed, whether you're shooting photos on film or shooting video. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah, Unparalleled, Falling Forward films, Powder Horror, Lipstick, I'm trying to think, and then he did his own stuff. I'm trying to think what else was there. But yeah, it's crazy that he's spanned that many versions of filmmaking and stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's a total wealth of knowledge, and we were trying to plan the trip and figure out who was going to be a part of it and what days we were going to do it and everything else. And we ended up filming it in I think it was the first week of April. So kind of the worst timing because we just got the King of the Heel entries in the 1st of April. Then the next couple of days we were working on this film shoot, and then I had to put together the whole film roll for King of the Heel to do this premiere event. So it was just an absolute like hectic nightmare to get it all together. But talking to Ty, he's like, well, the weather might not be great, so what's the backup plan and everything? And quite frankly, up until that point, I never even thought about it too much. I'm just like thinking, oh, it's the beginning of April. We're going to have these perfect bluebird days and it's all going to be good. But the reality is, through Colorado, you have no idea what any day is going to be. It might be bluebird or it might nuke snow, and that could even be in like June,
Yeah.
So
did it end up being bluebird?
So he was there for 3 days. The first day was pretty chill. The second day, which was like our main shoot day, was completely bluebird. And then the third day was just like overcast, rock hard, like just gnarly, kind of like falling in the park was not something you wanted to do. It was super stiff, and it ended up being kind of a short day because of the weather. So, the Why Not film is actually going to be a culmination of like 2 partial days and then 1 full day. So it was a short amount of time, but they all laid down a bunch of tricks, which was sick. But yeah, that third day, we finally wrapped up. It was completely flat lit where it just wasn't great conditions. So we went and skied a few laps, and it was just like the cruddiest Colorado skiing. I mean, everything is just chatter and not digging a rail in, and everyone's kind of tired and ready to drink a beer. And of course, T2's like, this is awesome. Like just absolutely stoked, wanting to run as long as he could,
That kid's stoke level is like all time.
It kept the morale up for, I think, everybody. He was just stoked the whole time, and it was sick.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's funny. Yeah, I guess what is the backup plan? That's the problem is like filming's tough because like you never have like a great, like you said, you've got a window. Like, hey, this is the weekend we can do this. So you just kind of like hope that it's going to work out. Yeah,
you hope the weather's going to be good. You're going to hope that like no one gets hurt because that can knock them out. Obviously hoping that they don't have a serious injury or anything like that. So there's all these unknowns. And just talking to Ty that first time, it's like, oh shit, this might be just awful weather and we can't really do a park shoot. So
well, that's good that it worked out. I guess so. Yeah, part of like exposing what's going on with these guys, I think it's great because you're getting a conglomerate of people together that maybe not ski together regularly.
Yeah.
With your experience, like putting on the King of the Heel, and then obviously you guys have done some movie premieres that have been successful, with Ty's stuff in the past. What's the plan? Like, are you guys planning on like premiering this, or are there going to be multiple showings? Or that's always, I think, especially now because. Well, I'll get to this question after, but
sure.
I mean, what's the plan to show it? Is it only internet? Is there going to be a premiere? How's that all going to work?
I think everyone's been so locked into their homes for so long. Everyone's itching to get together and share a beverage and get to watch and talk shit and hang out and everything else. So yeah, we're going to be doing essentially a Telemark Film Festival. So we'll be premiering Why Not, which is going to be the park film. And then we've also supported Ty on his future Freeheel Part 2 project. So we'll be premiering that as well. And then Marshall Thompson is also doing his own film as well. I believe he's calling it King of the Lurk. So for those of you unfamiliar with Marshall, he is the lurk guy that you see popping up on the Bishop accounts and Marshall's account and everything else. And he just rips big mountains. So he'll be doing a film as well. So we'll be doing a Telemark Film Festival essentially with multiple stops, and we'll have at the very least those 3 films, and we might show a couple snippets from King of the Heel as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. So basically you can kind of put a couple together and make like almost like a full length film night.
Right. Yeah.
That's
so it'll be a fun time for everyone to see kind of like what new is happening, what's been going on. And it's a great opportunity for everyone to finally get outside and hang out together. So that'll be kind of the end of fall, beginning of winter of 2021. And we'll do those few stops, and then after that we'll have them online. At various locations.
And for Marshall, you can check out San Juan Sticks. That's his little lurk brand he's got going on. I'm curious, you're the only ones making videos except Ty. What does that feel like right now? Because I think that's a big piece to chew off, even if you're doing shorts, like there's a lot of work that goes into that. what do you see the future of like people always say this, like, we need Telemark movies, and and I've said, like, obviously I have a past doing that many years ago, and as I always tell you, not the greatest, but I figured out how to do it.
Right.
But it makes me wonder, like, what is the future of, like, do we need Telemark movies? Do we need Telemark short movies? Should they only be on the internet? Like, would people actually go? I mean, in your experience, it seems like people are coming to events.
Yeah.
And that makes me wonder, like, is that going to come back around where, like, I don't feel like that. I don't really go see, I mean, well, there's no Telemark movies going on like that. So, like, what's the future of that? I mean, like, do you think there's a void for that? Obviously a little bit, but, like, would you guys ever want to do a full length movie?
Oh yeah. That's something that we're talking about a lot, even looking towards this coming year. In terms of how you mentioned the void, I think it's something that people are wanting and are interested in. If there's one thing we learned through the TC project, is that it seemed like people were waiting for something, like they were waiting for events and these little contests, because if they weren't, then I don't think anyone would be participating in it, right? I mean, you're not going to generally go to something that you don't care about or want to be a part of. So I do think there is this desire for it from people that already kind of exist in this world. But the ultimate point, at least coming from our perspective, is that, like, TC wasn't meant to just be a company that sells shirts or koozies or just makes, a Vimeo edit or something. The whole point of what we're doing is trying to introduce to everyone, I guess, at least our own little corner of what Telemark is to us. It's showcasing Telemark, and that could be something that we showcase to people that already know about it, or it might be something that we're showcasing to people that had no idea about anything Telemark, what the binding looks like or anything else. And they, again, might be people that just think it's this backcountry vehicle. So that's kind of the whole point. And I think media serves a really strong role in that, especially, today, where we're all scrolling through Instagram and TikTok and everything else. And I think it provides, a fun avenue for people to enjoy Telemark as they already love, and then a fun avenue for people to kind of have it introduced to them for the first time. So that's kind of the ultimate goal of it. And because of that, it's quite frankly pretty terrifying to try to take up a project, because we're trying to assume that role to show it to somebody. And I think now, where you don't have that many Telemark films, or aside from what Ty's doing and what we're doing and what Marshall's going to be doing, I release a film, and that's 1 out of 3 that people might be exposed to for the year, which is a heavy kind of percentage of representation of what people are going to see and look at Telemark as. So to me, if I do a bad job or kind of half-ass it or something like that, I'm representing 33% of what Telemark media might have been, aside from, like Instagram and stuff. So that's kind of a heavy pressure for me, Brian, and Eric to do a really good job at, whatever kind of project we take on, because we don't want this to be this product that looks kind of crappy and gray that people look at and they're like, oh yeah, this is what Telemark is. So that part puts a lot of pressure on you, but I think we get better stuff out of it,
Yeah, that's true, because you can't please everybody.
No, not
well,
at all.
But and I think that is a challenge. Like, you can't please everybody with the same media, and you also want to incentivize a certain. You want to promote a certain brand that you're interested in as a filmmaker or an organizer of sorts to get it out. That's always the dilemma I've seen, because I'm excited to see the Why Not piece, because it's showcasing a high level of skiing. And funny enough, I think that's where we've struggled in Telly a little bit, is when people showed high level skiing, it, like, I don't understand this. I'm curious to hear what you think, but I think I'm the type that, like, even if I can't do what I'm watching, I really like it.
Yeah.
But there's definitely, like, a lot of people out there that, like, want to watch mediocre powder skiing, and they're, like, stoked about it. And I'm always like, that's like, I would think you want to inspire people, and it seems like that's more the route you guys are going. I mean, you're inspiring the potential of what could be.
Right.
Doesn't mean you're not going to have to put the own work into it. But I mean, is that kind of the fear, like that you're not going to encapsulate everything in one movie, and then people are like, you know?
That one's kind of tough. Like if you think about it on a park film, you're thinking of like the level of tricks and everything. But I'm a big believer that, you know, the editing is just as important as the tricks themselves. You can have a really strong crew of people that just absolutely send it, and you could put together an hour worth of clips, but if it's edited poorly, you might not really care or be interested in it. And you know, it goes vice versa too. You could be a great editor, but if it's everyone just doing the same thing, then you might lose interest as well. So it's trying to strike that, I guess, that balance for what we are doing. But ultimately, you know, the crew of 4 that we had, they're all sending it, so that's really not a problem that we're having to deal with. So, which leaves it to us to not screw up the editing and the quality of it. You know, I think in terms of what you're talking about with like the mediocre powder skiing, I think there's something that people really enjoy about being able to watch something and kind of put themselves into that position, and they can almost picture themselves doing that as well. So it's a nice way to kind of shift where you're at a little bit and be a part of it. You know, I mean, I love seeing low angle, you know, Japanese powder type videos, right? And it might not be the gnarliest stuff, but it looks fun and you kind of imagine yourself doing it. So I do think there's a big benefit to that. But there is also a benefit, especially in Telemark, of showing what people can actually do to try to debunk those assumptions that are happening, you know, whether it's about the type of gear and what you can use it on, or the type of tricks you can do in the park. So, I mean, there's benefits to both. And I see I understand why you would want to see some gnarly skiing or some mellow skiing. You know, it just kind of, it's a mood thing. I mean, I certainly don't understand 4/5 of the crap that's happening in park now, you know. But like you said, I still enjoy it, and it's impressive to see what these people can do.
Yeah, and because it doesn't make in the older movies, you know, from the 80s on, you know, it's like you were being inspired by these guys skiing. I mean, if you go all the way back to the 80s and Plake and Schmidt and all these guys, you know, all the way into, you know, the early TGR and matchstick stuff and level 1. And to me, I love that you guys are doing that, because it seems like it's a really important piece to the puzzle, you know, and I think where it really affects people is when you're young, you know, like if you're a younger, like I know you come kind of from the skate background. It's like when you're young, you're willing to take more of those risks to try to improve yourself, you know, and that's where I think seeing that kind of stuff is exciting and necessary, you know, and there's definitely some curmudgeons out there that just want, you know, not super epic. Like, I get it. You want to put yourself in someone's shoes, but it's got to be exciting. It's entertainment, right? Yeah. So, I mean, do you kind of see videos like that? Like if you think back to like skate videos you grew up watching, or even ski videos, or what you're doing now, I mean, is it, I guess, like, is that kind of who you see? If you were to put yourself on the watching side of this, do you kind of picture yourself as a younger person? I guess you are young, so.
I appreciate that. 33, I think, seems to be in a gray area at this point.
Yeah, but
I guess depending on who's listening to this.
But it seems like the people that have a problem with stuff that's like too, I don't know what the word is, too free ride, extreme, whatever it's called in whatever era. I mean, I see like this why not piece. It's like, I would hope young people that Telemark watch that are interested in that particular. Obviously, that's very specific, but right. They see it and they're inspired by it. Like, I guess I just can't see like the old dudes, you know, kind of looking at it and being like, wow, that's really cool. Like, right. And that's unfortunate. Like, I think there's an appreciation for being a well-rounded skier, but I don't know. Like, I guess the question, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm kind of wandering, but
no,
is
I get
it
what you're saying.
Like, do we need more young people latching onto that, or how do we get younger people interested in seeing that's a part of it? Not that you have to go ski park, but
right,
like the possibility of doing, you know, it could be the same if it's a backcountry movie. Like Ty's putting out tons of stuff in that future Freeheel where he's skiing legit backcountry lines, but he's also incorporating, you know, tricks off natural features and stuff like that. To me, that's like maybe broadens it out even a little bit, but I just feel like I guess maybe I'm wandering to the fact that I hope younger people vibe with that, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's why too, when I talk about what we're doing with TC, is I focus in on, we're trying to show people what Telemark is to us and what our culture is. I mean, who the hell are we to say this is what Telemark is? We're introducing what we've been exposed to, what we enjoy doing through Telemark, whether it's doing these like barbecues or turkey fries or doing premiere events or little meetups or doing this telefilm, like we're not coming up in the fall to say, here you guys go, welcome to what Telemark is. That's not the whole point. It's to introduce another part of what teleculture can be and frankly what it is, and for the people that don't agree with that, that's totally fine. I mean, quite frankly, there's plenty of stuff in skateboarding that I probably kind of close my shoulder off to as well. We all develop kind of what we want to agree with in a certain sport. I think the thing with Telemark is, though, right now is that there aren't enough people showing what their culture is to provide these avenues for people to pick from. There isn't like this dorky weird trick like grind up and down a rail sort of culture that people can be like, oh, this is exactly what I love about it and I associate with that, or this like death metal crew, or just like a simple powder crew, and maybe there's the crews, but there's not like the media being produced and maybe apparel or what have you, whatever someone can grab onto and relate to. So that's really what we're trying to do. And quite frankly, the hope too would be that someone sees that and they do disagree and they decide, you know what, that isn't what we associate with this is, and they start to create, shirts that have their weird inside jokes or stickers or videos or something, because as you do that, you produce more of these cultures. So when people are trying to pick between alpine and snowboarding and hopefully eventually Telemark, they can look at it and see these different crews and find something potentially that attracts them, and that might introduce them to the sport. Because right now, there's all the stuff that you're doing with Teleskier and Freeheel Life, and there's the individualistic stuff coming out from Ty and Marshall and some of those people. But I think having more would be super helpful to introduce people into it and get them interested, because you kind of have to show them what it can be, or else they have this assumption of what it is, which 9 times out of 10 might be completely wrong.
Yeah, that you bring up a good point, and I remember, I remember feeling that way too, because like when we did the Lipstick Films movie back in the day, I'll always remember this because it was in your neck of the woods. It was in Dillon at the Dillon Dam Brewery.
Yeah,
I'll never forget. We show our movie and we're like, this is cool, and this guy walked up to us at the end and he was like legit pissed off. He's like, this isn't Telemark. How can you say this was a Telemark movie? And I remember saying the exact same thing. I was like, that's awesome. You disagree. Yeah. Like, I'm all excited about it. I'm like this young kid, and I'm like, that's how I want you to feel. I want you to like go do something. And I'm glad you said it too, because I wish more people would realize and I think King of the Hill is a good entryway. Like it's breaking that barrier down and saying, hey, you can literally, like, if you have an iPhone, like what we could do 15 years ago on like a high grade camera, you can do on your iPhone and better. And you can edit it and like you can put music to it, and like the barrier to entry is so much lower. But I think I'm glad you said like, hey, pick up and do something. Yeah. Like that's the point. You're not you shouldn't have to Colorado shouldn't have to shoulder the entire culture. Freeheel Life shouldn't have to shoulder the entire culture. And there's, like you said, there's other people doing stuff out there, but it sometimes makes me wonder, like, who else is out there and who else maybe could just start something, and,
right.
And, I don't know what do you think is holding people back?
It's not something that's happening frequently, so to do it is kind of an outlier kind of task, right? Yep. I think it's easier to do something when it's already being done, because it doesn't seem insane. I think there might be some hesitance to that, and also it does seem kind of exhausting. I mean, to film and produce a video, even like a 3-minute clip or something like that, takes hours. It takes a bunch of logistics. It takes equipment. It takes time. And I think that can be pretty daunting. So I think that's what holds people back. But in my opinion and like my experience, the second you start doing it, you already have the ball rolling, and all of a sudden it becomes much easier or more acquirable, or at least motivating to do. So I think just kind of breaking down that barrier of, it's happening or not happening is a big deal. And I think just seeing King of the Heel, those entries now, like, I think this year we ended up with over 2 hours worth of film or something, which is nuts. I mean, that's completely aside from future Freeheel and everything. That's going to be the most tele footage that's come out from, the 2021 season just for those 3 months, which is awesome. And these are people that weren't creating edits before, and perhaps creating King of the Heel was kind of that motivation to finally get up and do something, and to do it versus, why the hell are we doing this? So we can create a video that floats in the internet for a month and no one watches it. So, there's a lot of reasons, but it is kind of daunting to start something when it doesn't seem to be generally what people are already doing. Yeah.
You gave him a guidebook too.
Yeah.
You gave him a guidebook. Here's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Just turn on the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's cool. No. And I hope more people hear that and decide to do stuff. But, like you said too, it's not easy.
No.
I thought video editing, much like Telemark, it's difficult. I got in trouble this last couple weeks. People were on our forum, and they're like, "You can't, you got to quit saying Telemark's hard." And I was like, "What am I supposed to do? Like make videos being like, hey everybody, this is the easiest thing you're about to do,' and then like show them a Telemark turn?" Like I was like, "It's hard. You got to put some time into it." You know, just like, I don't think the pitch to do an edit, like you said, it's probably not as hard once you get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And I think, as we're talking, I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. You gave people a guidebook, and now you have, how many entries did you guys have this year?
I think we ended up with 8 or so. Yeah.
8, like you said, 8 mini film crews.
Yep.
Putting stuff together, over 2 hours of footage, all because you just provided a guide to get it going. So
it's something that there's a reason to do it, right? There's an end goal, which I think is really helpful for it too. Not to mention, because of all of our epic sponsors, we end up with a crap ton of gear to give away to everybody. But there's a reason to do it and a motivation to finally start it. And then I think once everyone starts it, the fun kicks in, and then that's kind of the whole point of all of this.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, so going into next season, you got summer to think about stuff. Obviously, you guys are going to do the little film conglomerate with the 3 movies, show that a couple places. Any other plans already in the mix? Or maybe you think, are you going to do some meetups like you guys did in the past and stuff?
Yeah. We're liking to kick into the 21-22 season doing what we were originally doing, which is doing these meetups and the clinics and demo events for people to introduce people either new to the sport or new to the gear or new to different types of gear. So yeah, we'll be scheduling up, doing a bunch of meetups and the demos. King of the Heel 2022 will definitely be happening. So that'll be, again, that'll drop January 1st. And then there'll be the 3-month time span for that. We'll have the film festivals. And as per usual, we'll be making our fun kind of dorky Telemark apparel and everything else. That's kind of a fun avenue for me just on my creative side to create these things. And again, it's to introduce kind of our perception of skiing. So if people dig it, then that's awesome. If they don't, then hopefully they'll make another shirt.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And when I caught wind of you guys, it was kind of the opera, meet us in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Bring the grill. Deep fried turkeys I did not know about.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just an idea. I mean, pickleball might be the way to go, but making deep fried turkeys, I think we can all get on board with that one.
Oh, hell yeah.
Might have to get some utensils going for that, some specifics. Okay, cool. So before we sign off, where can people find you? Or Telemark Colorado if you don't want to give out your personal information.
Yeah, there's no reason to chase me down. You can just follow. It's on Instagram. It's at Telemark_Colorado. The website also easy, telemarkcolorado.com. That's the best ways to find us. We have the Facebook account so people can kind of see what events are happening, but the Instagram and the website are the 2 real avenues to chase down to figure out what in the world we're doing for the season.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm looking forward to the little film tour, and hopefully we can do one here in Salt Lake.
Yeah, we're stoked. We're gonna shoot for doing like a Denver one, Summit, a decent amount in Colorado, and then spread out into some of the other states too. Potentially shoot over to the Midwest. Shoot over potentially a Motor City one and Salt Lake and everything else. Yeah, so we're super stoked on that. And I do also want to thank Ty and Marshall for kind of including us with it, because we're excited to support them and be a part of it, and we're super stoked on the fact that they're motivated to create this media as well. I mean, I think it's important for us right now for people to take that initiative to produce it, and then Bishop Bindings too, who sponsored Why Not, to help us out with that too. That's much appreciated.
Awesome. I love that, man. Well, good luck to you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for dropping by, and I'm glad we got to catch up.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Josh.
All right. See ya.
Later, buddy.
All right. Always good to catch up with CJ. Awesome dude. And I love what those guys have been able to create over there at Telemark Colorado. They're all doing a great job of getting people together. Now kind of moving into the media realm, putting out some I'm looking forward to this Why Not video. It always makes me a little nostalgic for my for some of the stuff I've done many moons ago. And I love seeing people kind of get that fire to get things going and put the work in. And like I always say, especially shooting video, none of it's easy. It takes time. And, I'm always appreciative on just a personal level, because I've been there, done that. And I know what it takes, not only to kind of kick yourself in the ass to start doing it in the first place, but keep it going, organize people, put the video out, figure out how to put the showings on. So kudos to those guys. And I love what they've done with King of the Heel. Awesome thing. Like I was saying in the podcast, it's like, that seems to be the ticket. If you can give people the guidebook, all of a sudden you can kind of sprout out all these new people putting stuff out. So if you haven't looked at King of the Heel, we were kind of talking to each other about this. Freeheel Life's done a pretty horrible job at participating the last 2 years. We get so busy working, it's tough. But we might have to make it like mandatory on the clock or something and get it done. We'll see. But if you haven't done King of the Heel and you haven't looked at it, get involved. It's such an amazing way to get involved with Telemark, meet people from across the globe, and just have like a fun little booklet when you are out skiing. You can just knock it out, and you take an iPhone or whatever you're filming on. I mean, you can make a good quality thing for this, and it's not too hard. And I think it's a great way to participate, much like a World Telemark Day or something like that. This is something everybody can do. You don't need to be some pro level athlete like CJ was saying, and you can just knock it out and have fun. So really proud of those guys for doing all that, and wish them all the best in the upcoming season. Should be really fun to watch. So sign up for the mailing list. If you're not on there, please sign up for the mailing list on the website, and we will send out what's going on in Freeheel Life world, just to keep in touch with you. I'll tell you, it's getting hot. It's hot. It's like summer hot, but it's going to be fall before we know it. So be sure to stay in touch. Follow us on the old Instagram, Facebook, mailing list, YouTube, you name it. And we'll be sparking it up a little bit more as we get towards the fall. But we appreciate all the support on there. For all your Telemark goodies, shop at freeheellife.com. We've got some great new lifestyle stuff dropping. A new t-shirt, if it's not out, it will be out by the time this podcast comes out. We're calling it Guru Lou. It's a nice little vintage thing, and I think you'll dig. And if you're listening to this and you see all the trash talk about that shirt, it's funny. People are kind of dogging on this old Telemark technique because they think it's like a stem Christie of some sort. Just FYI, when you see the shirt, it's mid-turn and it's part of a vintage technique. So you got to be a little more well-versed in the historical factors of the turn. So scope that out, freeheellife.com. Like I said, subscribe and become a supporter of telemarkskier.com for articles, gear reviews, and more. We're putting stuff out every week. Craig Dossey's doing an awesome job of keeping that content fresh and alive, and there's some great stuff to look at there. You can always email me at podcast@freeheellife.com. And thank you for listening and supporting the podcast and everything we do. I appreciate it. So until next week, spread Telemark always, my friends. Peace out.